So I want to start the show with this. I tell my kids this all the time. Solve the problem. I'm not into victimhood. I don't want to hear about your issues. Solve the problem. I don't hang around negative people. Solve the problem. Yap, yap, yap. Lie. I don't get this. I don't get that. All right. Nothing's perfect. Solve the problem. It's amazing in the NFL how few teams could solve their issues and can't. Green Bay can't stop the run. Why haven't they solved it this season? You can trade up to week 8. Coach guys up. Chicago offensively needs more juice when Tariq Cohen got hurt. Why can't Ryan Pace, the GM, and Matt Nagy? Why can't you solve the problem? What you watched last night is Seattle, a Hall of Fame coach, and probably John Snyder, a borderline Hall of Fame general manager. You watch them solve a problem. So Seattle, we know they have stars. Bobby Wagner's maybe the best linebacker in football. Russell Wilson, one of the best quarterbacks in football. But they had no pass rush. And last night, they solved it. And it wasn't just Philadelphia. They now have 19 sacks in the last 4 games. 5 more than anybody in the NFL, including the Steelers. Now, third down, they were awful. Their offensive line is middle of the pack. It's not atrocious, but it's not great. But when Chris Carton is running, this is a Super Bowl team. There's 4 key ingredients historically to win a Super Bowl. Got to have the right coach. Got to have the right quarterback. You have to have some semblance of a pass rush to make star quarterbacks in the other team uncomfortable. And increasingly, got to have some playmakers. Got to occasionally get an easy touchdown. We saw that with Kansas City over the weekend. You know, the good teams have some playmakers. And Seattle has all of this stuff. 19 sacks, 4 games. And this is what's interesting. So Seattle knew going into the season, we don't have much of a pass rush. And so what did they do? Their general manager, John Snyder, said, all right, let's go get Carlos Dunlap. He started squawking. He wasn't happy. And they gave up a nothing pick to get him. And then right before the season, they gave too much up for Jamal Adams, but they got Jamal Adams who's a safety but plays like a linebacker, and he loves to blitz. And then they had drafted a first-round defensive lineman last year, L.J. Collier from TCU. Didn't do much, hurt his first year. Second year now, he can play. But they solved an issue. And now Seattle, to me, we know there's 3 really good teams in the NFL, Chiefs, Steelers, Saints. Seattle is 4 to me, along with other teams, but they did something that very few teams in the NFL. Folks, you can trade until week 8. Green Bay can't stop running games. Make a move. They didn't. Seattle had a pass rush issue. No more. They solved it. Trent Dilfer and I talked about this yesterday. This is what Pete Carroll does. This is why he'll end up in the Hall of Fame. And Pete can drive me nuts on some things. And Seattle's GM sometimes butchers first-round picks. A couple years ago, took a running back. I didn't get it. He's a bust. Still don't get it. But it happens. It's not science. It's drafting. They're young kids. They're 20, 21. Some have heart. Some have soul. Some have a work ethic. Some don't. You can't read their palms. You don't know exactly what you're getting in most cases. But in the end, Seattle has solved a primary issue. Why doesn't Chicago? Your offense needs juice. Solve it. You got 2 months to make trades. Green Bay can't stop the run. Solve it. By the way, in September, Seattle had 5 total sacks and allowed 500 yards a game in September. In October, they allowed 460 yards a game. In November, they have 22 sacks and are allowing 340 yards a game. Every month, they coach it up, they acquire, they get better, and you watch Seattle last night, and to me, they look like a Super Bowl team because they got the coach, the quarterback, the pass rush, and the playmakers. Not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl, but those are the 4 things you have to have, and one of them was missing in September and early October, and now they've solved it. Like, just because you start a project here, you got to be able to pivot. That's what every great business book tells you. Every company you start within 6 weeks, you're like, all right, we've got to pivot off that. Amazon, Netflix, look, all of them. They pivot off stuff. And it's like Seattle, if Seattle gets to the NFC Championship, they would not have if John Snyder and Pete Carroll wouldn't have been willing to move off. They're kind of, here's what we have. We got to keep elevating and improving and acquiring and trading. And ask Carson Wentz. What you saw now, you say, well, the offensive line for Philadelphia, they have 19 sacks in 4 games. That's 5 more than any other team in the National Football League, including the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have a great pass rush. I see another public wrestling match. Bruce Arians came out yesterday and said, well, Tom Brady's been calling the plays for the last month. Look at me. Tom Brady's. Oh, boy. Let me just say this. Guys love to give themselves credit. And for the first time in my broadcast career, you guys are not giving yourself credit. Oh, you rush to Twitter to tell me how special you are, all you 4 of your followers. But today, men, I am asking you to give yourself credit. So let's look at Tom Brady's numbers this morning for Tampa. Oh, they're just utterly disastrous. Oh, wait, they're not. 28 touchdowns, 11 picks, 65% completion percentage, and a passer rating of 95. Oh, those are excellent. Now, they have been at times inconsistent, and their running game does disappear, but his numbers are on pace to crush his numbers last year. He's already got more touchdowns than last year, a better completion percentage than last year, and a better passer rating than last year. And oh, by the way, if you go to your little pocket schedule, take out the first game against the Saints, bunch of new guys and no camp, I'll just take that game out. They've scored 31, 28, 38, 38, 45, 25, 46, 24, 24. 2 stinkers, Bears and Saints. Ooh, bad actors have bad movies. Good actors, have bad movies. And great bands have bad albums. Ooh, Tom Brady with no OTAs and no camp and no preseason had a couple of stinkers. One against the Bears and one against Saints, a top 2 or 3 team in the league. Okay, remember when this trade was made? All you people said the same thing. Listen, if Tom can be productive, but just cut down on Jameis Winston's mistakes, it's going to be a 10-6 team. Oh, check. He's on pace to throw half the interceptions of Jameis Winston and be more productive. Tampa was 7-9 last year. They'll be favored in all 4 of their next games. Let's say they win 3, they're 10-6. Oh, that's what you predicted. Their offense is number 7 in scoring, about what we thought they would be. Yes, they've been inconsistent. And yes, their running game can disappear. And I don't think Bruce Arians and Tom Brady, I don't think they're the perfect fit. I just don't. I think they're old school to, detailed, more rigid. But we've moved into silliness territory. This thing is largely what you predicted, what I predicted, what Joy predicted. We didn't think they were going to be the Chiefs. We didn't think they were going to beat the Chiefs. Most of us did not think they would be as good as the Ravens. They're better. We didn't think they were going to go 13-3 like Green Bay. Many of you thought I didn't. Many of you did. Most of you didn't think they would be the Seahawks. They may end up with a better record. Give yourself credit. We can do all this public arguing, Arians and Brady. His numbers are really, really good. They're like Tom Brady prime numbers. Take out a Randy Moss here or two. He's cut down on the Jameis mistakes. That's exactly what we hope for. And we all predicted 9-7 or 10-6. They have a chance to go 11-5. This is a lot of noise and silliness now. This is a good team, occasionally excellent Green Bay game, Carolina game, that can be inconsistent, shocker, no preseason, and sometimes forgets they have Leonard Fournette and the really speedy Ronald Jones. But in a world where guys rush to Twitter with 9 followers to tell you how brilliant they are, today I'm giving you a pass. You nailed it. This is exactly what we thought they'd be. Exactly what we thought they'd be. And, by the way, they are a top 8 to 10 team. That's what 9-7 generally is in the NFL. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.